Tiff and the Punisher, they won't back down, screaming out loud in every town. Stand against the system that's gone insane, fighting like lions, don't feel no pain. Abolish CPS, their rally cry. No kids for cash, we won't comply. Make parenting great, let's take a stand. Tiff and the Punisher, hand in hand. Voices heard, don't tread on me. Taking back rights, we will be free. Constitution in our veins, breaking these chains and claiming gains. Abolish CPS, their rally cry. No kids for cash, we won't comply. Make parenting great, let's take a stand. Tiff and the Punisher, hand in hand. CPS stealing kids, they gotta go. Fight the good fight, let everybody know. We'll raise our fists and say aloud, no more silence, join the crowd. Abolish CPS, their rally cry. No kids for cash, we won't comply. Make parenting great, let's take a stand. Tiff and the Punisher, hand in hand. Abolish CPS, their rally cry. No kids for cash, we won't comply. Make parenting great, let's take a stand. Tiff and the Punisher, hand. They are taking our kids every day, I shout 'em in and no one has a thing to say. For those who have been isolated, don't be worried, you have a voice today. So listen up everyone, here is the story. Child Protective Services is real. CPS is what they call it. They want our kids because it fills a lot of people's wallet. We all think it won't be us. We say when they come we will be so tough. It all sounds good when there's no one to take them. But when they come, your voice gets to breaking. Stay calm, step away. CPS ain't taking no one today. We are educated. Stay calm, step away. CPS, you need to leave. I know the tricks up your sleeves. You can't do what you're trying to do. We have done our homework. Don't do a damn thing without a warrant. You no longer will steal our kids this way. Tiff and the Punisher have come for the calling. They are giving us the CPS warning. Their voice is loud and clear. We stop losing our kids this year. Tiff wants to fight the entire planet. She is tired of our kids being taken. God damn it. She's been fighting CPS for 30 years, bringing children home from this disgusting mess. The Punisher is screaming out loud, abolish CPS and tear it down. I want all our kids to come back. Look at all those kids, pictures held up by thin ties. Together we are stronger than we need. We will tear down CPS with high speed. We will do so much being together. Birds of a feather flock together. So watch out CPS, here we come. Picking you one by one. We promise to bring back the family and prosecute the caseworkers unhandily. So give us back the kids you have taken. Tiff and the Punisher sending you all on a vacation. The one with bars in the windows, and the only games you play are on Nintendos. Corruption in courts, here we come. We won't stop until it's done. You judges need to learn what you stand for. This is Tiff and the Punisher warrior. We cry out to all of you out there. We need support for a cause that many don't care. All children are being stolen way too often. So CPS, we plan on doing the stopping. Stopping.
Woo! All right, there we go. That was it. We did it. We got it through the song. What's up, Tiff? Happy Monday.
I'm doing all right. Hanging in there.
You're doing all right. You're doing real good. I'm Tiff. I'm doing good. You had a tough
Got
weekend, huh?
another, yeah, oh, that's an understatement. And now I got another sick one.
Oh my God. You guys living in a test tube over there.
You would think. I don't know.
Oh, little roly polioli is doing just fine though.
Oh yeah. Oh, Iron Gut, he's fine.
Old Iron Gut.
Yeah.
Wow. Old Iron Gut. That's funny. So he does too, don't he? He can eat about anything. He's just fine, isn't he? That's funny. Well, you know who else can do just about anything and be fine? Thomas Baines.
All right.
Did you know that they just literally came and they beat the guy within an inch of his life?
I would own that state and that
Oh
county.
my gosh, he's about ready to, I believe, from what he says. But I get we can bet we can ask him.
Let's ask him.
Let's see what Bain says. Mr. Bain.
All right, all right, all right. How we doing today?
Oh, good. We're doing real good. How about
All
yourself?
right. So yeah, no lie. In fact, after some review of records, and I'm currently getting some some medical treatment where I am at. And they did a really good number. And so, while I speak today, I'd like everybody to know that some of my words may come out a little twisted. I've written everything down, so if I stop or whatever, it's just because I'm trying to find my place. I have received a significant brain injury. My head was uh, bashed into a block wall by the
Oh,
second shift supervisor of the Androscoggin County Jail. Prior to that, Officer Olette of the Lisbon Police Department and the sergeant, they stopped me, and this was actually the day after. So this was February 21st that this interaction starts, right? And I'm fixing to bring y'all some straight, solid religion here, right here, because they are trying to kill me for what I am going to release. And part of it I'm going to release tonight. So, you know, I am nothing. I'm nothing but the messenger. I'm a salt of grain, but I work for the man up high, and he's pissed. And it's time. We don't have time to wait on Trump. We don't have time to wait on Elon. We must come together as a single unit now. Our
yeah.
children cannot
Amen.
wait another motherfucking minute.
Amen. Yep.
Call me a general, call me whatever the fuck you want to call me. I'll be the
Yep.
private. I clean the toilets. I don't give a shit. Just as long as we
Yep.
get organized as one and we destroy this monster right now. So, with that being said, I lost track there for a second. But anyway, with that being said, on February 20th, I had filed I've got some documents in the United States District Court of Maine, and where I am suing the state police, CPS, the governor, and others for the last two very serious attacks. The first one, they blew up my house. And if anybody don't believe me, you can drive by 222 Main Street, Lisbon Falls, Maine, 04252. Check it out. It's still apart. So, with that being said, the very next day, and I did file treason charges on the 20th against the governor of Maine, Janet Mills, child groomer, child trafficker, and Bobby Johnson of Maine CPS, child trafficker. And I don't say these things lightly. I want everybody to understand. I'm not speaking from a parent's perspective tonight. Okay, I am speaking under my professional credentials. 100%. I've talked with the lawyers. They they got me. And it's the right thing to do. So y'all just get ready. But anyway, so the officer, right now, I quit drinking everything. I've never been an alcoholic. You know, I like cold beer every now and then, grilling out. And so I have a special needs child, and he is something else. And he says, Dad, he said, I'd feel much better if you just never drank again. Said, okay, Micah, if that's what it takes to make you happy. Now, granted, I had a half a beer in my hand. I think it may have been targeted, but yeah, I stopped drinking that day, poured it out, done. You know, if that's what makes him happy. And so this officer in Lisbon, um, it's very difficult to talk about it because I'm sure I'm still going through some traumatic stress after some of the information that came out last week, this week. But the officer did draw his gun, and he was 27 degrees from my head, my
My
forehead.
gosh.
All right, that's no lie. I was beaten. Uh, the handcuffs were put on my wrist so tight that because I type and I do a lot of communication that way, and I've had surgeries on both these hands already that they
Yep.
were 6 inches. They were just big round forearms, and then it was horrible, and I couldn't see it at the time because they were behind me, but I had them on for almost 4 hours before my next beating, and so they picked me up for because they smelled alcohol on me, and I'm charged with shooting fireworks. Now, I ain't have no fireworks. That's crazy as shit. And they tacked on a whole bunch of other shit, disorderly conduct, all this other bullshit, right? So they take me to the hospital, St. Mary's, and I have the records. Okay, they take me in there. They never undid the cuffs. They put me in there for a mental health evaluation. The police officer, Lisbon Police Department Officer Ouellette, tells them that there is a statewide safety memo to every police organization, municipality, county office in the state of Maine that says I am a danger to law enforcement. Okay? So I don't know if that had some influence on what happened to me next, but this is something probably young kids shouldn't hear. But I'm going to get to that in a second. So, I go through all these things. I'm not suicidal, not homicidal. In fact, I was in a pretty damn good mood that Friday. I wasn't shooting no fireworks kind of mood, but I was in a good mood. And um, so they take me to the hospital, and they're asking me if I'm suicidal, homicidal, if I've been drinking, if I'm doing drugs, this, that, the other. And I said, no, I don't drink at all. And then so the officers had told them that I was drunk and acting crazy in the streets and all kinds of shit, right? So now I'm begging this nurse, all right, and I've got her name in my records. I'm begging her to ask them to take the cuffs off because I cannot feel my hands, and it's in the paperwork. And I can't see them, and they keep saying your hands are fine, your hands are fine, right? Well, after that, I was like, well, then, you're pulling a nerve or something because something is seriously wrong. Didn't matter. Even the doctor, I got his ass name too. He sure did go to school a long time to become a medical doctor to throw it away over some CPS bullshit. But got you too, buddy. I hope you watch this. St. Mary's in Lewiston, Maine. This doctor, I begged him to take a picture of my injuries. I begged him not to let the police take me because they were going to hurt me. I begged him to do something. And he just stood there shaking his head no. He's got brown curly hair and a brown beard, probably about 5'7", 155 pounds maybe. I got his name, but I ain't going to throw it out there yet. I think there's some issues with, or something to do with the medical review, all those type people. I'm slaying other dragons, but I got him on high speed standby. So
Yeah.
I leave the hospital and they clear me. All my records say I'm good. I'm coherent. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not suicidal. I'm not homicidal, yada, yada, yada. I get to the jail, right? And so now by this time, my hands are just, but they're behind me. Can't see them. They hurt. I feel like my hands are going to fall off. And they are very damaged, okay, still. And so the officer, Ouellette, from Lisbon Police Department, he takes me in there, and this Androscoggin County Sheriff employee, she was a female, probably 5'2", about 185, really bad attitude. And so, this is where I was inducted into what can only be described as the Stanfield prison experiment that they had to stop after 6 days back in the 70s. Because what I'm about to be exposed to smokes the I just so anyway. She comes up to me and she starts asking me these medical questions, right? And I said, look, I said, I know I have ADA protections. I would like to know what those are. And so she's like, oh, yeah. I'll let you know what they are, right? And she starts asking me these medical questions, and I said, well,
Mm-mm.
now I'm pretty sure that's protected under my American Disabilities Act, And oh my goodness, that's where it began. And so, I don't want to spoil the video that will eventually be out on the national news, but just it's not for kids to watch. So they paraded me in there. I still got the cuffs on. They're fucking me around, and this is all in booking, all right, where they have cameras. And so as I was coming around the block wall, if anybody's ever been to the Androscoggin Holiday Inn down there, they bring me around to the wall, and I see an Androscoggin County Sheriff Jailer. She's blonde. She has quarter-size lobes in her ear. She's about 105 to 110 pounds and anywhere between 18 and 22 years old. All right. She was holding a camera, and I mentioned her description for a reason. One, so she knows she's caught. But what she did later was worse. All right. But she's holding this camera, handheld camera, and I see her first. And then when I'm scanning as I'm walking, I see the Lisbon Police Department officer, and he's got his finger like this, or well, actually, it was this way, and his finger was over the camera. Now, for those of y'all that have never watched the Alabama Solution about what's going on in the penitentiary in Alabama, that's usually the last thing you see in your life if you're in the Alabama penitentiary. So I was cognizant of everything that was going on, right? I'm watching because I realized at that point they are about to really, really hurt me. And so I hollered out, why is your camera? Why are you covering your camera? That's premeditated, and this was a premeditated attack. And so they get me up against the block wall in the square, got my hands behind me still, right? We're going on about 4 hours with these cuffs on so tight. Well, my skin had enveloped the handcuffs, and they couldn't get the cuffs off, right? So they're trying to get these cuffs off, and they're just... And anyway, so like my shoulders have been pinned behind my back. They've been there 4 hours, and they get one of the cuffs off, and the second shift Androscoggin County Sheriff Jailer, little fat bastard. I'm an old man, what you did was, how do you even look at yourself in the mirror? I mean, only a punk. I'm old. I'm old.
Yep.
And you're going to take your forearm. They held me out from the block wall, and he had ripped. Now, I got a torn rotator cuff, so I can't really do it all the way, but he pulled my arm up, and then he took his elbow and smashed the back of my head into the block wall. And at that point that I received a very serious brain injury, and of course I dropped to the ground. I couldn't even. They had to get a chair and take my clothes off of me. Now, let me tell you, they took my clothes off of me, right? and they put me in SEG and said that I needed a mental health clearance to come in the jail, that I wasn't being admitted in. Now, the hospital just released me, said I was good to go, no injuries, no visible injuries other than what I complained about. So I get there, and they won't send me upstairs, right? They won't even let me use the phone, nothing. They locked me down, and like I said, they roughed me up. And it was like the first thing said, the first jailer I dealt with, she was like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to wait down here and say till we get a mental health nurse on duty." And mind you, I take life needed medication. They denied me my medication. They, of course, beat me. They left me naked in shit and piss for 4 days. I couldn't even get off the floor. I had to lay in it. I excremented on myself several times because I couldn't move. All right.
Wow.
So at about anywhere from 48 to 30 hours in, this jailer comes back there and he says, "Your bail is $600. Like, now, grant you, I'm still laying on the ground, on the floor, in piss and shit, and where they toss my food. And so I said, $600, let me make a phone call. And this is the first time I get to make a phone call. And I get through finally to my nurse. Okay. And so I'm telling my nurse that I'm in fear that they're going to kill me. They're going to beat me to death. Right. And I ain't scared. Now, I mean, I done been there and done it. So I ain't scared. I mean, I'm saved by Christ and I'm a soldier for Christ too. Like I said, I ain't nothing but salt and I ain't scared either. That's just the way it is. But, anyway, uh, I was whispering on the phone, so they cut my call off. She couldn't hear what I was saying. And then I was like bum rushed back to the cell. And at one point, so then I'm back to the cell and I'm like, listen, I can make bond, and the officer said, no, you're on suicide watch because you're going through acute alcohol withdrawal syndrome. All right. I was so, I was, it was obvious. It was obvious that I was in danger at that point. I knew, that I was in serious danger. And so finally, one of the nurses comes in. And, this is one of the reasons why they won't release my own medical records or the video. They won't release my own medical records to me because I know this stuff's in there. I have medical records enough already. But so this nurse comes in, right? And she's looking at me, and there's an officer with her, and I'm trying to whisper to her, right? This is after I come back from my phone call being hung up, the communication broke before I even, really was able to communicate. So I'm telling this nurse quietly, I said, look at the top of my head, my forehead, look at my hands, look at my face. And it was at that time a whole bunch of them come running back there. And I swear, if it hadn't have been for that nurse staying there, I know they would have got me. They'd have took me out. Because I know, I mean, I'm like I said, I'm cognizant of the still jungle. So, so now I'm going to go back to why I mentioned the detail of that girl that held the camera. So now I know that I am in serious trouble, right? Right above the breathalyzer in the Androscoggin County Jail is a sign for FRIA. And for those of you that don't know, FRIA is the Federal Prison Rape Elimination Act. And you have the right, when you are incarcerated, any time to use that number, because that number will go to an authority outside of the state. So when I asked Blondie with the gauges and the attitude, like she was, yeah, she was Janet Mills or something,
Mhm.
she, I said, I want to use my right to use the Federal Prison Rape Elimination Act number. And she said, "Oh, honey, you got that right." She said, "But we get to tell you when you can use it." All right, verbatim. So 4 days, right? I'm naked, laying in piss and shit for 4 days, and I have another evaluation, and they go through the same. This nurse who was very kind, and I want to say that the nurses there at the jail, they were very caring, very concerned, and very kind. Okay, thank you, nurses, because one of y'all saved my life, and that ain't no joke. That is dead serious. And she knows who I am because I was what I just described. And she's seen all jailers running back there, and she stayed. So me and my children, but so I go see this other nurse, right? And she's a mental health nurse, and she has a tattoo. She's about 5'6", about 120 maybe. Has a red rose tattoo on her wrist and a tattoo of faithfulness under her neck here. And God bless her too. And I was telling her what is happening, and we talked about the drinking, and I was like, I ain't had a drink in over 6 months,
That's
and
good for him.
you know, so then she got kind of rushed out of there. I don't know what the deal was with that, because she was like, well, I'm gonna check on some stuff, and I'm sure they blocked her from ever doing anything. So now I see a third mental health nurse, right? Our therapist now. And this guy, as I'm educated in a lot of things, he's doing a severe acute alcohol withdrawal evaluation. And I'm telling him, why? Why are you doing this? And then we started to talk. And then I never seen him again, right? So here we go. It's they get me up, they're gonna give me some clothes. Hallelujah. Well, they only got me up and let me take a shower and put on some clothes, which they had to help me get dressed so I could go into and have my hearing. So at the hearing, the judge gives the police an open search warrant for my home for any time to look for alcohol anywhere.
Stuff.
Now, I don't know who the hell taught these people in Maine the law, including the judges, the caseworkers, and I'm gonna break down the scam here in just a minute. I'm gonna break it down because tomorrow I might not be here, so I'm gonna spit it tonight. And it was just it was inhumane treatment, inhumane. The head injury could have killed me because I already had repetitive concussion syndrome from the September 10th attack. And,
Jesus Christ.
We did, yeah, there you do. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. So I did have x-rays today, and when my head hit the block wall, when I was mashed in the block wall, my neck went up, and it has damaged my neck as well severely. So, but we're working on things. There's a lot of medical here. So with that being said, anybody that's listening, I would love for y'all to ask for that video at the well, I mean, we could post the Androscoggin County Sheriff's phone number later or something, but I need these medical records because the doctors down here, the neurologists, they need to focus on where I put the impact, because otherwise they're going to be looking at other shit that they may not have to, and they can work on getting me a plan and start working towards mitigating the damage. All right. So I need the video. Medical records, I have a right to. My neurologist needs the video to see that it's been requested by multiple doctors. They won't release it. In fact, they even told me that they had sent it to their lawyer's office. Now their lawyer's looking through my medical records, and I am needing medical treatment for my brain, and they are sitting on it. So, if they can't kill me one way, I guess they're going to try to take me out another. I'm going to go ahead and read what I have wrote. Drink water. So, as I said before, I am speaking as a professional, not so much a parent. But as parents, we have to unite, come together now, and cut the bullshit, and demand our kids back and get them back. Like I said, I'm one of them soldiers. Don't scare me to go in the trouble. But anyway, I do have global credentials, and there's a part of my oath in my global credentials that was verified today that the state of Maine cannot silence me on the safety hazard of the child trafficking that is going on. And that is verified by my education, experience, and the mathematics I've been running for the last, I don't know how long. All right. So if anybody's out there, just a nerd math and loves finite mathematics, it's a finite mathematical infinity solution, question, problem, math. Anyway, that's too technical for you to go into right now, obviously. But so Thomas A. Bain Jr., ID 1001884419. In accordance with my global credentials, I must report child trafficking regardless of what the courts of Maine demand of my silence. The social worker reports and judicial complaints are the only way I can quantify my numbers, hence the reason for the exposure. So I'm going to start, and this is going to be a very brief description of how they are stealing our children and how they are fleecing the government. And while it's not only just in Maine, it's in every state. But Maine is so blatant with it. It's unbelievable. And the entire judicial system in Maine is corrupt. I say that as I have other degrees, criminal justice studies, all that bullshit stuff. The governor of Maine fleeces the federal government by trafficking children. The governor, which is the head groomer of Maine, uses Maine CPS to abduct, groom, and traffic in that order. The healthcare system, as everybody knows in Maine, is way backlogged. CPS uses hearsay anonymous reports and violations of the Fourth Amendment constitutional rights and law enforcement to intimidate, deceive, and by any means necessary to enter our homes illegally. At which point they document their concerns were verified by the complaint. So they remove the children with LE law enforcement assistance and intimidation. Once the children are taken, they disrupt the entire structure with hotel rooms, strangers' homes, homes with overcapacity foster homes. All the while, the state of Maine is billing for these services. The start of the indoctrination begins with a short conversation such as, "You're here, so your parents must have done something bad." During this time, the parents are hit with every single mental health requirement and added costs, time restraints, evaluations, drug treatment, domestic violence, co-parenting classes, And the one evaluation you cannot get for at least 90 days in Maine, the parent capacity evaluation, which must be done with a psychological doctor's office that has a contract with the state of Maine. Pay attention to that word contract. This perfectly designed roadblock is designed to increase pressure, increase damage to children, to input damage to children, and ultimately the state of Maine has an average of 2 years for those who jump through every single hoop. Go along with every fraud evaluation, treatment classes all charged to the state by contract, then billed to the federal government in the form of mental health treatment grants. The constant planned abuse of our children in Maine is for the sole purpose of indoctrination and for providing financial resources to the state of Maine and kickbacks from contracts such as Spurwink and others. While the parents are being abused by the state, having their most coveted, beloved offspring taken and entered into indoctrination, then every act of emotion that comes from being a loving parent is documented to identify the parent as unstable. You can do anything when your children have been kidnapped, right? During this time, children are placed in an overcrowded foster home that has way too many children to stay with for a short period of time. This move is intended to completely disrupt the children's baseline structure and ensure chaos. This is even worse for children with special needs. During this time in Maine, the fleecing of the federal government starts funneling money into other state contracts for public defenders. This starts the billing process the minute you have contact. Even though in Maine the CPS system excuse me, also requires a GAL, public defender, CPS billing process for the court hearings, the ADA and the DA office for their performance in the trafficking, and of course, billing to the contracted foster homes, which I call pay for stays. During this process, the parents are doing anything they can to appease CPS, but must continue to be subject to their whims and unsupported requirements for treatment. It's during this backlog that Maine CPS begins filing for child support to also fleece the federal government of monies and also creating a roadblock for parents by draining their financial means, if they have any at this point. Then complementing it with sanctions is losing your driver's license, an automatic paycheck withdrawal, regardless of the hours you work or your pay. There is a big part of finite mathematics that goes into that equation, how to financially destroy the responsible parent in most cases, but not all. Also, during this time, if Maine CPS has decided to violate due process by filing for a PFA for the children against the parents, also adding court dates, required therapy, at the same time damaging your career, your financial abilities to protect yourself and your family. Also, during this time, Maine CPS violates all due process requirements, making the ability to fight this planned kidnapping, grooming, and trafficking. They groom children by entering them into a situation that destroys all their love for their parents, even going as far as psychological abuse by telling the child things about his parents that are bad. Then the children get moved to a less restrictive environment. As an example, my children went from the overcrowded pay for stay to a single man's home who has his grown son living with him. My two sons, and I'll get to them in a minute. This is part of the grooming that indoctrinates children into sexual abuse. Although it starts slow, the child doesn't want to say anything to go back to the previous chaotic home. The child has also been bombarded with the thought process their parents are bad people who need help, and destroys their ability to adhere to morals, values, and norms of a regular child. In Maine, this process goes on for an average of 2 years to life of the child or death of the child. So, with that being said, I want to everybody stick with us. We good? Still, it sound good? All right. So, uh, I'd just like to share some things, and I'm going to send this email to Gunner. And this is basically an outline right here. And what it is to file a complaint against the social worker. And this is something we're going to all have to do together. This is how we blow up the system. We must stop fighting as one. I love my children more than anything, but this ain't about my children. This is about all our children. And now is the time. The pin is pulled. It's time to toss that bitch and let the handle go. Okay, I ain't playing. Anyway, to file a complaint against a social worker, you should contact the state social working licensing board. All states have them. Every social worker has a license. Every license can have a complaint for their illegal bullshit. And I think a lot of us, you see, this is going to be a 3-prong attack right here. All right. And this is just the first prong. Is we're going to start with the bullshit of the social worker. All right. Find out who your social worker is. Find out, research her credentials, get her number. What has she done wrong? What have they violated? Did they violate due process? Did they violate your 4th Amendment? 14th Amendment too. We got to push. Push is one. So anyway, each state you can find that social worker's license, right? So when you contact the board, you're going to use the appropriate form or method. Some boards have specific complaint forms. Others may ask you to write a written complaint. Is it worth it for my kids to write a written complaint? Hell yeah. Even with these broke ass hands. But be prepared to provide supporting documentation, all right? And so this documentation, you got to keep it sweet and short, all right? I know a lot of us, just about all of us, have so much documentation and so many points that we want to see. Look at everything you're doing. Look at everything. You're just so, but, they're not going to read all that. It's just a fact. We got to keep it to about 3 exhibits, all right? Because they are not going to read 100, 250 pages from everybody. They'll read 3 pages, all right? The numbers don't lie. So, with that being said, we're going to start there. Now, today, I was, in the course of all my communications, I was checking on, because you see in Maine and probably a lot of other states, like the Center for National Missing Exploited Children. I've talked with them a lot this week. So currently, these organizations cannot print a missing child's poster, right? However, with the discussions that were had today, there is a national company. I won't disclose where they're at. They are working on getting rid of that rule as we speak. And if all goes well, they will print free posters to everybody. They can get rid of that requirement for the police report. And when I talked to them and I laid everything out, because in Maine, the whole goddamn state trying to kill me. How am I getting justice? Anyway, so I went ahead, I've sent them my pictures. And so on these posters, right? These posters are about getting this attention, not my kids' attention, all of our kids' attention. And so if if there are things like I wouldn't want to put my child's date of birth on there, there are some things that I wouldn't want to put, but this is just a. And by the way, it is legal to make your own poster. And the reason why that is in these discussions today, they said, well, do you know where your kids are? And I said, no, I've not seen them or talked to them in 6 months. And they were like, what? And you don't know where they're at for 6 months? And that got the conversation moving. So that is, in the eyes of this national network, a very serious abuse. Whether they act on it or not, I don't know. I hope to drive to their office in another state and bug the shit out of them. I will. So anyway, number 2, create your own missing poster, put your kids on there, because this is how we're going to move the algorithm on the internet. We must make our posters, okay? And then we need to pick a time, and we are going to, everybody, just like I can't tell you how many child protection networks that I'm involved with. And every time there's more and there's more and there's more. Just make your poster, share your poster, share everybody else's poster. Yeah, it's going to be a pain in the ass. I ain't going to lie. You're going to have to share a lot of shit. But Ma, I'm willing to die for my kids, and I'm willing to die for y'all's kids too. This, like I said, this is bigger than me, bigger than my children. This is child abuse at the devil's level. All right. So we'll make sure that I've got a contact on my poster, right? And it's not my phone number, it's not my email, it's just to a Facebook page that I have, and anybody can send a message to that. And if you've seen this kid, it's confidential. Let me know, because my children are MIA for 6 months. CPS requested that they be removed from their PCP. They also denied their emotional support animal to have contact with them, my special needs child. All right. So, as we all know, these judges, right? Fuck these judges. Where the hell did they go to law school? And this is the problem. A bunch of them have Napoleon. Napoleon. Y'all know what anyway, y'all know what I was saying, right? Napoleon complex. I'm sorry. So anyway, because they've been running this shit for so long, so illegal, they don't even know how off the charts they are. But these judges, they are not exempt. They must do their due diligence. They must follow due process. That is the cornerstone of the fucking law system. And how dare a judge continue anything and violate due process? I guarantee it's probably happened to 99% of us watching this show.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we ain't gonna let them fuck boys off the fuck boys, fuck girls, whatever you want to call them. Excuse me, that just come out. Tourette's. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have Tourette's yet, so who knows? But I do say words sometimes I didn't mean to say. That's why I can't teach right now. But anyway, so if the judge is a federal judge, you must file a complaint with the clerk's office of the United States Court of Appeals for the relevant circuit. Filing a complaint against a judge or legal system is based on the principle that an independent, fair, and complete judiciary will interpret and apply the laws that govern us. The role of the judiciary is central to the American concepts of justice and the rule of law. The Code of Judicial Conduct, Supreme Court Rule Number 2, is intended to establish standards for ethical conduct of judges. Now, we're not going after the judges and letting them throw the judicial immunity and all that shit. We don't need to sue them. They got a fucking, they got a person they got to report to too in every state. All right? So Supreme Court Rule 12 establishes the Commission on Retirement, Removal, and Discipline of Judges to receive, investigate, and hold hearings regarding citizens' complaints, not lawsuits, complaints against judges. Gather the most damaging emails, documents, due process violations, etc. Do not use all your documentation. Right? We touched on that just a second ago. We want to identify the relevant state board. We want to just kind of look through their complaint process, whether it be the judge, whether it be your court-appointed attorney. I spoke with the American Bar Association today. They are in line. And let's just say that was an interesting conversation. I mean, I've been excited ever since I hung up with them motherfuckers. They about the law. I ain't kidding. Whew. Yeah, I can't even repeat what they said.
Jesus almighty.
But anyway.
It's just ridiculous, man.
We want to type in complaint. Is it unethical conduct, incompetence, or violation of the code of conduct? Gather relevant information, your times, your dates. Be clear and concise, and then file that fucker. Start with the social worker. I'm not saying to do this illegally. I just want to throw that out there. With no intent of harm to anybody, we want our fucking children back. You do not have the right to motherfucking indoctrinate our children and to keep our children from us and to brainwash them and to use them for profit and to use them for the fucking insurance and to use them to block the fucking hospitals and to gag motherfuckers. Ain't gonna happen any fucking more. Ain't happening. So, let me see. I think that's all my papers. But man, that's where it's at, y'all. Now, I want to say I did not disclose anything of this confidential stuff that I have that is going out to people that I am required by my oath to give to. Okay. And that's all I can say about that, my most Forrest Gump way. But we got to come together as one. Let's make our posters. Let's file these complaints. Because this is what's going to happen. We're going to break the system. We're going to break it. 3-prong. Social worker, missing posters so we get that algorithm moving so we know. I mean, can any of us say how many children are missing and how long? I mean, my research goes back racial. And, you know, it started back heavy in the 70s and 80s. And it accelerated in the 2000s to a point of systematic national abuse of children. And as a parent, I'm throwing down the gauntlet. I will not accept this anymore. I love my children. I love all children. I'm a protector of children, you know, and by any means necessary is where I'm at. Because what are they going to do? Kill me? So with that being said, I know that's kind of a lot, and I didn't even know it was going to go this way with saying all that. You know, it's a crazy thing with brain injury. You never know what's going to happen. I've had to get 200 hotel keys. Keep losing. But,
let me ask you, where would somebody find a social worker's license?
Under the state registration. So all social workers, all LS, they all have to be licensed. And so in every state, there is a licensing board. And all you have to do is Google it. Missouri licensing board for social workers, or Alabama, you know, same thing. And hey, I wanted to mention this on that, on this missing persons poster. And I don't know if you can... let me see. It does say state of Maine child trafficking victims. And the reason why I put that on there is because if everybody used a similar thing but to identify the state they're in, that would help with quantifying the numbers. So, because right now, those numbers are, we need to get a more accurate thing, and we need to bring this to the motherfucking attention of every motherfucker that ain't ever had to deal with these some bitches. Because we ain't crazy, we ain't bad parents. We are being abused for money, and our children are being abused for money and indoctrinated. So,
Wow. Uh,
Man.
I would
I don't
like
even
Andrew?
know what to say to you about what happened to
Yeah,
you.
what do you say? I mean, like, wow, that's an
Check this
interesting
out.
story. It's really nice.
I called to report a crime of that police officer, and about an hour after that, the Lisbon Police Department was at my house to serve me some papers. Now I'm in the underground right now. I'm in the underground getting down, going to see the people, got a seat, doing what I got to do. But with my speech, I hope that we ain't got to lawsuit. And I this is one thing here. We got to decide what's important. Is it the money or is it the children? Because we're gonna have to drop the money shit. We're gonna have to focus strictly on getting the children back. And I'm sitting on $100 million lawsuit. I don't give a fuck. I donate the whole goddamn bit to getting children back. On my word, on my life. So, that's one of the things, because we all know how much this has financially crushed us. We all know how much this has financially crushed our families. When we've had to borrow money or days that we just couldn't face work because, and which you get penalized for because they're trying to make you look like a bad parent for having a natural reaction, which is horse shit. And send it to the local sheriff. Yeah, they don't do shit. They don't. But yeah, if we can move this algorithm, get every state to make a missing children's with their children in the state they're from, and we bomb this, and we start. We don't have to file lawsuits to break this system apart. We can start with just filing our complaints on the social workers and on these I call her my court appointed disappointment. She's been threatening me, by the way, that my own attorney has been threatening me that I will never see my children and nobody will see me if I bring this to light. So with everybody out there, I hope y'all know that they are really trying to end it for me. And my life is in danger. But I ain't no stranger to danger. So, it is what it is. I've always wondered. I've asked God, why me? Why did I have to live this life? Why does it not never stop? Why has it gone on and gone on and gone on? And it's like when I published that novel, one of the happy days was like the first time I wrote it and I was done. I thought I was done. And then the editors got a hold of it. And then I had to rewrite it like 39 times. And it felt just like razor blades cutting my head up, right? But in actuality, it just made me tough and seasoned. And I do not ask God to bypass me on these trials and tribulations anymore because I am hard and ready to go. I have my arm. I may not have hands. This may be running a little on a different time zone, but my focus is to protect children from wavering. And with that being said, I say a prayer for everybody's children and for everybody dealing with this monster. Because if we don't expose it as a group, as a team, as parents, and that's the neat thing about us, if you look at the demographics, our plight crosses every boundary. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter who you vote for. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight or whatever. If you're an adult, that's your business, whatever, But we are a group that crosses all boundaries, all boundaries. And the only people that understand this abuse are ones who have had to suffer and are suffering it now. And I know when other people, it's like, they look at you like, oh, your kids are in CPS. What did you do wrong? Or why are they there? Or all this shit. Because it's a fucking criminal organization. That's why they're there. Hell. I had to defend myself against something that happened 30 years ago. 30 years ago. And you know what? When I got done, I said, shit, I stole a piece of gum when I was 12. You want to fucking talk about that too? I mean, really. And you know what? Here's the law. We all make mistakes. We all make, there ain't there a person who don't make a mistake. And there are times where I've made parenting decisions and I fucked up, made the wrong one. That is life. You do not need to be, your children and yourself do not need to be punished and damaged and abused because you should have chose A instead of B or whatever, oranges or apples, Life is a growing and living experience. And as our child and our children grow, they all react differently to different types of things. And who the fuck are they to tell me I cannot raise my child?
Yeah.
That
And tell you how you got to do it and everything else.
Their fucking pocketbook for their bullshit motherfucking insurance and 30 days off and all that other shit. They talk about these public defenders only make $135 an hour. Well, I've been doing the math on that too. They're pulling about 30 to 50 grand because they drag. They drag and they drag. So, man, I so appreciate you letting me come on and speak. I think it was therapeutic for me. After the show, I'll probably change hotels.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I've got other people to see in other parts of the country, and whether it be by grassroots or bootlaces or whatever the fuck, I'm gonna do whatever I got to do. I am not gonna slow down. I am going to bring it with every ounce of everything I have in me, because at the end of the day, when I do get my children back, and I will get them back, they're going to say, Dad, what'd you do to get us back? And I am not going to be embarrassed. They're going to know that their father fought for them life or death. And I'd just like to say to Officer Ouellette, suck these balls, you bitch. Oh, let's say that out loud. Brain injury.
And you can come on anytime you want.
Yeah.
All depends on how long I live. I'm just kidding. No, I do love coming on. I would love to participate more, but I am stoking a lot of irons and a lot of fires, and I am traveling so many time zones right now that I had to get the hotel to make me a key because I left the key in the car and I had to come upstairs to get to my computer. But it's all good. And yes, Jonathan, we have been through hell. Fucking A, we have. Yeah, and there's many more. What's really super sick is I'm not the only person who has spent 4 days in jail naked on the floor. I am not the only person who has walked into CPS, asked to see somebody, sit down, and been trespassed from the building saying that I was threatening the employees. See, that's a big part of finite mathematics. Because if you take this person's history and my history, there's no interconnecting factors other than we went to CPS, we sat down, and they both made false police reports. That's by design. That is not coincidence. So, hey, and on a good news, man, it's on. It's on.
Oh yeah.
It's on.
All right, it's time to end the show.
Wow,
Man,
did
I
I
don't
talk
know
the
what
whole
else to
show?
do. That's great.
You're fine.
Oh.
Yeah, you did
Well, hey.
just a damn fine job.
Hiding out in a state near y'all. Let's create the underground. I can't stay in hotels all my life.
You know, you fit the mold. You'd be all right. Hotel living.
No,
Hotel
actually, it looks like I'm gonna be going back into. I got the doctor to write me a pretty note so I can try to acclimate into doing some work, and I'm a contractor for the government, so they're clearing my paperwork right now. But I ain't giving up. I'm going at it full throttle. Like I said, the $100 million lawsuit, Bain versus Mills. Look it up. 2:25 CV 00047 capital SDN. I put that $100 million into getting our children back, and it won't bother me one bit. I put that on my word. I put that on my life.
Well, feel better.
Oh, I had to get I had to get needles in my eyes Saturday. That was horrible. They damaged my my sight too on my right side, and that was bad. Ain't nothing like getting a needle in your eye. You can't close your eye. You gotta see it coming. Hey, thank y'all for letting me speak. This was very therapeutic, and I'm sure I'll have a lot more to say the next time I check in. Prayers for all our children, prayers for strength, prayers for tranquility, and prayers for our government to see what is happening.
And prayers to you too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Prayers to Tiffany too.
Yeah. You too, Darren.
Hey, thanks, Tiff. I feel like I don't know what I feel like, but I feel like that I didn't do it. Yeah, I'm just trying to find the song. That's all. I'll get us out of here.
Let's jam out to something fresh.
All right, I'll give you one. All right, everybody. We'll catch you tomorrow night, same time, same place.
They steal our kids for cash, ripping hearts apart.